Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Poppins Cracking. It's Steve Boss reacts to this Blackie Speaks vid. It's Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance, The Hidden Message. This will be the last Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl video. But when I reacted to the performance on my Patreon, I did say that I eventually wanted to check out a breakdown to go over, what exactly it meant in detail. Obviously, there were several things that I feel like were self-explanatory, but, it's Kendrick, so I'm sure there are layers. And it was funny. Somebody left a comment on my Patreon and was like, yeah, a lot of this went over so many people's head. And then somebody responded to them and was like, y'all be looking up breakdowns of what of what shit means, and then y'all try to come back and be like, oh, this went over your head after you found out what it meant from a breakdown. I thought that was funny because I feel like people do that a lot. No shade to the person who left that comment. I don't know if that's what they did at all, but I just thought it was funny because I feel like that is kind of common. But shout out to my Patreon people. I fuck with y'all. We a family over there. We be talking shit. People are hilarious. I be cracking up at stuff people be saying over there. They are very shady. So keep that in mind if you want to come up. Niggas are shady. Anyway, so we're going to see what this breakdown entails and see what he has to say. Let's watch.
Now, Kendrick Lamar is currently trending after his Super Bowl performance, and for good reason. Ever since it was announced back in September that Kendrick was going to perform, the hype has been real. And now it finally happened, and people can't stop talking about it. But here's the thing, most people only saw what was on the surface. What they missed was the deeper message Kendrick was sending. This performance wasn't just about entertainment. It was filled with symbolism and a statement.
When I'm sure when people are making these videos, obviously they're looking up like, okay, wait, what does this mean? They're on Twitter, they're on, Genius when it's like diss tracks and whatnot, and they're like looking at what the specifics are, and then they make a video. I feel like some reactors do that too. Hot take. I feel like Knox Hill Farms does that for sure. And, I think it's interesting because I mentioned him on a video and I said that some people were saying that he was a culture vulture. I wasn't putting that on that man because I don't know that man. I'm not going to put that label on him. He might be great, amazing, cool. But I do feel like he does that. He looks up like what stuff means, and then he like makes reaction videos, and that's no shade. This is our job. So if you want to come across like, hey, I noticed this and that after you did your research, then kudos to you for doing that research and looking up shit first and then coming to make your reaction. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I just feel like he does that. But I don't know that man, and no shade to Knox Hill Farm. This is no shade at all. I know people think I hate him. I don't hate that man. I don't even know that man. Shout out to that man, that brother doing his thing. Doing his thing. Good for him. But yeah, I feel like some reactors do that as well. And then you have other reactors who are just genuine and they just watch it and they give their opinions and their takes or whatever. And that's me. I'm not about to pretend to be, this is what this means. And I could tell this is that. I don't do that. Like, I feel like the vast majority of people are gonna miss these hidden messages and shit because we're just watching a performance or we're just hearing a song. And there's so much happening so quickly, it's impossible for you to pick up on every little thing at first and listen or at first view. That's just not how our brains even work. You can be the smartest person in the world. It's just not realistic. So most people are gonna miss some shit. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I just feel like it's the intelligence Olympics online. People try to make themselves seem smarter than they actually are. That shit is corny, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion on things. That's my take. And this is no shade to anybody in particular. But I just feel like it's very common when people do breakdowns of things. And this is not pretending to Blackie whatsoever. I'm not shading him either. Like, this is his job to make these videos. Obviously, he has to be informed before going into it. He can't just go into it blindly, but I think this might mean this. You can't do that. So he obviously has to do his research. But anyway, that's just my take.
Way beyond the music. So in this video, we're breaking it all down. What Kendrick was really trying to communicate and why this might be one of the most important Super Bowl performances we've ever seen. Let's start with some of the basics. What I'd consider the less exciting but still important details. First, we have the A chain, which caught a lot of people's attention. Some fans believe the A could be a subliminal shot at Drake, referencing the A minor, like from Not Like Us, or even Drake's real name, Aubrey. While there's definitely a possibility, if you ask me, I think this is more about Kendrick promoting PG Lang. PG Lang, the company Kendrick started in 2020, specializes in music, film, television, and creative production. If you take a look at their merchandise, they frequently use the letter A, making this seem more like a branded promotion rather than a direct shot at Drake. That being said, I wouldn't put it past Kendrick to include this, knowing people would speculate.
Yeah, how many people know about that? I've never seen anybody wear that, and I live in LA. I've never seen that in my life. As someone who lives in LA and am out quite a bit, I've never seen anybody wear that. So I don't think that's a common thing to know.
And tie it back to their beef. But overall, I think this was less about the drama and more about using the big stage in America to push his brand forward. And then we have Serena Williams crip walking, which is so petty but undeniably funny. This moment was, of course, a direct, calculated jab, considering Serena's history with Drizzy. Serena Williams and Drake used to date at one point, for anyone who doesn't know. Their connection first gained traction in August 2015 when paparazzi snapped them getting cozy at a Cincinnati restaurant. Before that, Drake had already been spotted courtside at her tennis matches, fueling speculation. However, things between Serena and Drake eventually soured. The exact reason, well, nobody truly knows. But what we do know is that in 2022, Drake took an unexpected shot at Serena's husband, Alexis Ohanian, on his collab album with 21 Savage, Her Loss. He did this on the track Middle of the Ocean when he said, "Sidebar Serena, your husband a groupie. He claimed we don't got a problem, but no boo, it is like you coming for sushi." That was a blatant sign of disrespect, not just towards Alexis, but indirectly.
But they even said no boo. That was such a Drake line. No boo. Like, I mean, fire double entendre, but that just sounds very sassy for you to say that, y'all.
Serena as well. And it was clear that she caught shade. Alexis Ohanian later responded on Twitter, brushing off Drake's comments while proudly embracing his role as a quote-unquote groupie for his wife and daughter. Very respectable man. Fast forward to the Super Bowl, and Serena's playful yet symbolic crip walking during Kendrick Lamar's performance almost felt like a subtle but satisfying clapback for the both of them. I think the deeper context definitely made it hilarious in its own right, whether intentional or not, which it probably was. It was another reminder that hip-hop and pop culture history always finds a way to resurface. So Serena, one of Drake's exes, and they obviously had a fallout. What a better way to send a message on the biggest stage than having her dance or crip walk to what is essentially the national hater anthem against Drake. Also, SZA was up on that stage with Kendrick, and for anyone who didn't know, SZA used to actually date Drake back in 2009. So there's that. For the Serena angle, there's also another layer to this moment. Serena did grow up in Compton before moving to Florida at the age of 9. So not only does she share hometown roots with Kendrick Lamar, but the fact that they came together collectively to embrace a song that openly disses Drake, that's a shot 100%. It almost felt like a full circle moment. Kendrick, the hometown hero, using his Super Bowl performance to take aim at an industry rival, and then Serena, who grew up in Compton, casually hitting the crip walk to the same song right there on national television. Aside from that, we have Kendrick conveniently turning into the camera as soon as he said, "Say Drake, I hear you like him young. Better not go to Cell Block 1." Now that, I don't think there's anything particularly deep about that, but if you guys seen the look on this guy's face when he says that, I ain't really gonna say anything. Just look at this guy's face, bro. This face has hate a million times written all over it, okay? Now that aside, let's actually go over the real shit now, okay? And this is something you're probably only gonna hear here because nobody breaks this down like me. So how about drop a like on this video for your boy. So most people obviously paid attention to those surface level things like the A-Chain, Serena, and all that. Those things aside, this wasn't just a performance. This so-called performance, okay, this was actually a political statement. The show opened with
everything he does is a political statement if you want to get technical.
Legendary actor Samuel L. Jackson introducing Kendrick Lamar. But this wasn't just an introduction. Samuel L. Jackson was dressed as Uncle Sam, the well-known symbol which is supposed to represent the U.S. government. So he's a physical embodiment of the government, okay? And that embodies authority, control, which is essentially the same system that Kendrick has been fighting for the entirety of his career, but most importantly of all, life. Kendrick Lamar has spent his entire career being critical of the systems in America that have contributed to so much of the pain Black America has faced. He's never shied away from addressing oppression, economic disparity, and systematic racism in his music. In fact, he dedicated an entire album to these themes in 2015 called To Pimp a Butterfly. One of the most striking examples of this is Wesley's Theory, the very first song on the album where Kendrick raps, "Anything see, my name is Uncle Sam, I'm your dog. Motherfucker, you can't live at the mall. I know you're kind, that's why I'm kind. Don't have receipts, oh man, that's fine. Pay me later, wear those gators. Cliche, then say F your haters." Now this particular song is about the financial traps that have kept Black Americans stuck in a cycle of debt and economic struggle. Kendrick paints a picture of the U.S. government personified as Uncle Sam, luring young Black men into a false sense of financial freedom, encouraging them to overspend, indulge in materialism, and accumulate debt, all while knowing that the system is designed to keep them from ever truly attaining wealth. Simply put, it's a trap. And Kendrick, being as intentional as he is, wasn't just referencing the song for nostalgia. His decision to have Samuel L. Jackson dressed as Uncle Sam introduce his Super Bowl performance was a callback to this very idea, reminding us that financial literacy, systematic racism, and the exploitation of black culture are still very relevant conversations today. Wesley's theory is a direct reference to actor Wesley Snipes, who famously went to prison for tax evasion. Kendrick used Snipes' situation as a metaphor for how the system sets up black artists, athletes, and entertainers to fail financially. Wesley Snipes was once one of the biggest actors in Hollywood, but after failing to pay millions in taxes, the American government came down on him hard. While tax evasion is a crime regardless of who commits it, Kendrick's point is that black celebrities are often placed in a financial trap, encouraged to spend recklessly, not given the tools for financial literacy, and penalized harshly when they make mistakes. Kendrick's message in Wesley's theory is that the system doesn't just allow black success, it profits off of black success while making sure that the wealth never truly stays within the community. The government gives opportunities, loans, and access to luxury, but then punishes those who don't navigate the system correctly. It's a cycle, one that's intentionally designed to keep black people chasing wealth without ever achieving true financial independence. And when you bring this back to the Super Bowl performance, the symbolism becomes even clearer. Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam wasn't just a random creative choice, it was a statement. Kendrick was showing that the same oppressive forces he's been rapping about for years are still at play, even on one of America's biggest stages while he's on that stage. Essentially, Kendrick is saying the same forces that allowed me to get on the stage, the ones that helped me get to my success and wealth, are the same forces still controlling the game while I'm performing on this stage. It's a paradox. Kendrick is saying that, hey, I know that I'm benefiting from the system, but he's also a product of the system's constraints. Alright, we're not playing that entire clip, man, because they're trying to get my motherfucking coins out here, bro, and I'm not gonna let that happen. And that's why Samuel L. Jackson, representing the U.S. government, injects himself into the performance by saying, too loud, too reckless, too ghetto. This moment isn't just about performance theatrics. It's a direct critique of how black expression is often policed and commodified. It's the system allowing Kendrick to exist, but only under certain conditions. The message is clear. Be successful, but not too successful. Speak out, but not too loud. Stay in line, play the game, and don't disrupt the system that benefits you. Now, the game he's referring to is the entertainment industry itself. The same industry that uplifts, but of course exploits black artists at the same time. It's the idea that as long as you're making money for the system, you're welcome. But the moment you challenge it too much, you become a problem. Kendrick has played this game masterfully throughout his career. He's managed to critique the system while still thriving within.
That's what I find to be a bit interesting, though. It's like, well, they're not suppressing him because if they, and obviously I'm not saying that this doesn't take place, it clearly does, it's blatant, but it's interesting that he is like the poster boy and the face of being able to fight against the system, and they allow it. So I feel like that's an interesting thing there, and I would like a deep dive about that eventually.
But at the Super Bowl, one of the biggest stages in America, he's making it clear.
Because if that's the case, it's like they wouldn't want this to get out. They wouldn't want to, have him be on this big stage and, put those messages out there. Because you could say, oh, well, it's hidden. It's really not. Because, the internet will internet and they do shit like this. And everything that he's going over, it's not like this is so deep and you got to really uncover it and uncode some shit. Like, it's not difficult to conclude what he's trying to say, and he says it through his music as well. So I do think it's interesting that they allow it in Kendrick's case.
I know exactly what this is, and I know exactly how much freedom I actually have. Now, this is where Drake comes into the picture. Drake is a Canadian guy who, unlike Kendrick, has never...
And the reason why I bring that up, too, because you do have some people, and maybe these are just Aubrey Angels saying this, but you have some people who also try to say that Kendrick is also a pawn. And that, the shit that he speaks about, it's not genuine. And he is also, working with these people and da-da-da, So there are definitely conversations that question Kendrick and how authentic he is and if he is really actually helping the community.
As a revolutionary or a disruptor. He plays the game effortlessly, adapting to every trend, every industry shift, and every cultural moment without ever truly challenging the system. The battle between Kendrick and Drake isn't just about music or two rappers.
And obviously, I don't think that about Kendrick. I'm obviously in support of Kendrick. But I'm just being fair and pointing out, all sides.
It represents something bigger. It's yin versus yang, good versus evil, authenticity versus industry manipulation. Kendrick is the artist who constantly critiques the system, calling out its flaws and exposing its traps. Drake, on the other hand, is the artist who thrives within the confines of the system. Drake, for a long time, has represented the industry's favorite artist, marketable, accessible, and not so controversial. Kendrick, on the other hand, represents the people's artist, critical, disruptive, and unwilling to conform. Their rivalry has been painted as just another rap beef, but on a deeper level, it's a clash of ideologies. That's really what it is. So when Kendrick takes on the biggest stage in American entertainment and turns it into a statement against the system, it's not just about Drake. It's what he symbolizes. It's Kendrick reminding the world that the industry rewards those who play the game and silence those who question it. And by performing Not Like Us, he made sure that message was...
But don't y'all think that's ironic though? If that's really true.
It's Kendrick reminding the world that the industry rewards those who play the game and silence those who question it.
So if his whole persona is to question the system, and he's so deep into, being for the people and pointing out how shady the industry is and they trying to keep us down. I'm here to uplift black people and uplift our culture and da-da-da. Is that not interesting that they're like, okay, we'll allow it in this case? It's like, why? Like, what's going on? Is it because, we're making enough money off of you, so that's why we'll allow it? But people are saying, I don't know the details of Kendrick's contracts, but apparently he also owns his own masters and he owns, a big part of his music. So it's not that. It's not like they got total control over him and they're making, or they're taking all his money. So, it just makes you think.
And by performing Not Like Us, he made sure that message was loud and clear. Now later on, before Kendrick is about to perform Peekaboo, Samuel L. Jackson delivers the line, "I see you brought your homeboys with you." The old culture cheat code, scorekeeper, deduct one life, is more than just a random transition. It's a loaded statement. This moment ties directly into the overarching theme of the performance, the battle between playing the game and challenging the system just enough. "I see you brought your homeboys with you." On the surface, it acknowledges Kendrick bringing his team, his culture, and most importantly of all, his people to the stage. But coming from Samuel L. Jackson, who's playing Uncle Sam, the symbol of the U.S. government and the industry's power, it carries a condescending tone. It suggests that Kendrick is leaning on the strength of his roots, his community, and black culture to make an impact. It's almost as if Uncle Sam is saying, "Oh, so you're using your people, your authenticity, your blackness as a way in?" And it's funny because blackness is literally the source of everything in the entertainment industry. Music, style, culture. But when it comes to the image that the industry wants to represent, it's often watered down, controlled, or repackaged to be more digestible for mainstream audiences. Hip-hop, R&B, and black culture as a whole have shaped every major movement in music and entertainment. Yet the industry has historically treated black artists as both the foundation and the afterthought. Black artists are expected to innovate, set trends, and define culture. But when they become too outspoken or too disruptive or too unapologetically black, they're met with resistance. And this is that resistance at play. When Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam dismisses Kendrick's authenticity as just a cultural cheat code, it reflects how the industry uses black culture while trying to control who gets to profit from it. So this could be a subtle dig at how the industry exploits black culture, allowing artists to bring their background into the mainstream only when it benefits the system. Also, he's performing Peekaboo, so let's talk about the white outfits, okay? Because those white outfits right there is definitely more than just a fashion choice. If you follow Kendrick's career, you know that he doesn't do anything without intention. In a situation like this, there's a strong argument that this was a direct reference to the KKK and the idea of America. All the dancers dressed in white, moving in unity, while Kendrick performs a song that directly calls out Drake, who's supposed to represent the system. That visual alone is very symbolic. The Ku Klux Klan, also known as the KKK, is known for wearing white robes, representing white supremacy, oppression, and the same systematic racism Kendrick has been speaking out against his entire career. And let's not forget that hip-hop has been calling out America, from Ice Cube to Tupac, and now Kendrick is continuing that tradition on one of the biggest stages in America. This could also be a reference to Colin Kaepernick. The NFL...
This is something I was thinking of as well. I'm like, it's very ironic and interesting that he's able to get all this off on, this NFL platform when Colin had all that backlash and basically ended his career because he wanted to basically make a stand.
has a complicated history with race, from how the Colin Kaepernick situation played out to the way black artists have been selectively allowed to perform on certain stages. And yet Kendrick gets up there and flips the entire thing into a critique of the system itself. It's almost like he's saying, look, I know what country this is, I know how this game is played, and I know exactly where we stand. Now, right before Kendrick is about to perform Not Like Us, Samuel L. Jackson delivers another loaded line. That's what America wants! So we're gonna have to cut that short because copyright is beating my fucking ass right now, bruh. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what America wants. Nice and calm. You're almost there. Don't miss this. And before he can even finish, Kendrick cuts him off, launching straight into Not Like Us. So this moment wasn't just theatrical. Now this moment wasn't just theatrical. It was symbolic. It was the system quite literally being interrupted. Samuel L. Jackson,
he's like he got a list.
Uncle Sam, the government, the establishment, the industry was essentially telling Kendrick, this is what we want from you. Something safe, something that doesn't challenge us. You're almost where we want you. Stay in line and don't ruin it. But Kendrick doesn't let him finish. Instead, he shuts him completely down and jumps straight into Not Like Us. Arguably the most rebellious moment of the entire show. And that right there, that's the perfect representation of how America's always tried to police black voices. The government has a history of suppressing outspoken black figures, whether through censorship, blackballing, or outright violence. The entertainment industry has a habit of rewarding black artists only when they play by the rules and punish those who challenge the system. The media often tries to dictate how black artists should behave, expecting them to be nice and calm rather than unapologetic and disruptive, because when other groups of people speak up, it's seen as passion, advocacy, standing up for what's right. But when black people speak up, suddenly it's labeled as aggression, a threat, or something that needs to be controlled. But Kendrick isn't here to be controlled. The second Uncle Sam tries to contain him, he breaks free by being his loud, aggressive self and does the very thing they don't want him to do. And then to top it all off, Kendrick ends his Super Bowl performance with the song TV Off, which quite literally means turn the damn TV off. Turn this TV off, turn this... I think there are two major layers to why Kendrick chose to end this performance.
I'll tell you, my pictures are hilarious. But somebody left a comment on my Patreon and was like, yeah, he right, turn his TV off. We ain't watching this damn game. I was like, period, because I didn't watch the game either. I just wanted to watch the performance.
First of all, it's definitely a universal message to everyone. In a world where people are constantly fed media narratives, propaganda, and distractions, Kendrick is telling the audience to wake up. The Super Bowl is one of the biggest spectacles in America. Corporations spend billions just to have a commercial slot because they know the whole world is watching. The game, the halftime show, the ads, it's all a distraction from real life issues that don't go away once the TV is off. Kendrick ending with TV off could be him saying, enough with the distractions. Think for yourself. And then the other half of the message is a message to Black America. The media has historically controlled the narrative about Black people, whether through the news, entertainment, or politics, or the entertainment industry. The way Black artists, athletes, and leaders are portrayed is often filtered through a lens of control, only showing what fits the agenda. So when Kendrick closes off his performance with TV Off, it's his way of telling Black America to stop letting the media dictate their reality. Don't let America decide who your heroes are. Don't let the system control the narrative. Kendrick was clearly sending a message with this performance, and I can't believe there are people who thought this was just a regular halftime show, but then again, it makes sense. The masses only see what's on the surface. That's how it's always been. Most people just saw a high energy performance, a few viral moments, and some controversy, but if you've been following Kendrick's career, you already know that this man never does anything without a purpose, and that's why I respect him so much. You can't hear me break all this down and still think it was just about entertainment. Love him or hate him, Kendrick has always been about the message. He's never been the type to chase clout or drop music just for the sake of it. Every time he speaks, he's saying something, and this performance was just another example of that.
I don't think most people thought that this is just a regular performance. Like, you can tell, even if you don't fully understand everything that he's trying to convey, you can tell that he's trying to put a message of some sort out there. It's not like they were just randomly dressed. Like, everything was pretty meticulous. So I think most people could tell that he's trying to, give us a message of some sort. But yeah, I feel like most of what he says pretty spot on. Like, this makes sense, especially knowing, Kendrick and how he is and what he advocates for. So I don't feel like he said anything too crazy. But I do feel like sometimes, not him, but sometimes you have some people online who try to connect dots that aren't there to connect. What Kendrick meant was this and that, and this is what this means with this. Like, y'all be connecting shit, and it's like, what? So I've seen some wild, takes out there that I'm like, this makes no sense. And it also makes me think of when you had all of these people who were connecting dots about when he was going to drop his album. It was videos that had millions of views on like TikTok, and tweets that had millions of retweets and likes and whatnot, of people coming up with exact dates, and they were connecting dots, and it was making sense. I was like, oh shit, maybe. People were sending me stuff, DMing me stuff. Oh, Kendrick's about to drop on this date, be ready on Patreon. So I'm like, oh, maybe that's possible. I mean, this does make sense. And the whole time it didn't happen. So I do think that some fans get a little excited and they start connecting shit that just it's not there. But Kendrick has a brilliant mind. I'm not taking that away from him, and I definitely know that he is layered with his messages, and he hides secret meanings and shit and whatnot. So sometimes it's accurate, but other times it's like, all right, y'all doing a lot. But anyway, good video. I feel like he did a pretty good breakdown. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me know what the videos you've been watching. I'll see y'all on the next time. Bye.